Haven't seen the moon in a few days, evening or morning. There it is this morning. And it's all noise pollution that way. And what you're catching that way. Not noise pollution, light pollution. You know what I mean. Overcast, so it's not overly cold. It's about 30 degrees at the moment. If it's going to get colder, we got another hour or so before it gets to the coldest part of the day. And a couple more hours. 2 or 3 hours, I suppose. And what they were saying last night was we're supposed to have snow. I'm not going to hold my breath. Honest, it ain't worth it. If anything, I figure we get freezing rain. But once again, I'm not going to hold my breath. Because at the moment, what I see of the clouds look just like yesterday, and it's not exactly rain clouds. I mean, maybe some snow in it, but no rain. So, anyway, see if I can get waterline made to put in. And see if I can, I gotta sneak in the house yet and get the pipe guys. But of course, all the dogs want me to come out here first. Including the slow old lady. Taking her time while I'm letting all the heat out the door. Then she gets upset because it gets cold in here. Oh, well. Do something with that. Hopefully get it out of the way, because obviously Blue Fair had to go underneath it, but poor Whiskey couldn't. There's your comedy for the day. And Rainey says, I don't care, I can go under it. I think Red's standing, yep, Red's behind me. Oh, he's stealing a drink of water, that's what he's doing. I'm thinking maybe I lied. I came back out of the shop. Gonna go back and measure for sure for that water line. And it's tinkling. I'm getting dampened. It's cold enough for it to freeze when it hits the ground, but that doesn't mean it's going to. So. And by now I think Brooke and Matt should just about be to work, so they shouldn't have to worry about it, but Ty ain't out here yet. That's where I worry. She hasn't quite figured out yet that the earlier you are, the safer it is on the road. Not only because if you're early enough, you're out before things finally actually do freeze or get that cold, and you're not out with all the idiots. And trust me, some of these people, I mean, if they lived in a different part of the country, they'd have died long ago in a car wreck because they would have caused it and killed themselves. Oh well. Yeah, there's the one for Wally's water. It's done. This one, I'm going to do a new piece for the 2-year-olds. Luckily, I mean, where the fittings are is 1/2 inch. It's 3/4 up above it, so there is a bell on it. We're just going to move the bell up toward the top is all. There's another short piece of 3/4 coming down too. I'm planning on, too late now, I already got this one half made. I'm planning on just taking the broken piece off and leaving the, it's probably 10 inches or a foot at the top. We'll leave it on there. And quick note, cheers, Dad. Happy birthday. He isn't gonna give us a sunrise, but might not be too bad of a day, I guess. He'd be 84 today if he was still here. So, happy birthday, Dad. Good morning, Blakely.
Say hi, Grandpa. Can you say hi, everybody?
What are you staring at Oma for?
Say hi, everybody.
Say hello. Gary likes to see you. Say hi, Gary. Hi, Gary. Yeah, and Brent.
Say hi,
Hi, Brent.
everybody. Hey, hi, everybody.
And Kevin. And Kev.
pretty much everybody. You know.
Say hi. Say hi.
Hey, you know what? Do you know what? You gotta be a happy girl today, okay? Yeah, you gotta be a happy girl all day, okay? Because it'd be your great grandpa's birthday today.
Oh, it's Grandpa Don's birthday today too.
Oh, that's right.
Grandpa Don's
Maury's
birthday.
dad's birthday is today.
Yeah, Wee-Wee's
And
daddy's birthday is today. Grandpa Don.
she gets to call him Grandpa Don because they're always up there too, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. There's your Blakely fix, at least for now.
Heifers. Yeah. Really probably should have gone to the next one, got rid of the short piece, but I didn't break anything loose, so it ain't gonna leak. And put one back on, got rid of the plug, because if the float does freeze, or this freezes, we can still generate water out of the top one. And then ideally, the reason this is on the float is if you get it shut off, this should drain out before it freezes, ideally. And raised it up too, because they can't play with it like they did before, because before this one was right there, and this one was basically where it's at, except lower. You can see at this point, because the bell was on it here, right at the bell was right here, and last year's the first year we had them playing with it. Well, once in a while one would bump it, but last year they played with the damn thing all the time and flooded their lot all the time. Yeah, I know, we should clean that. Right now there's not too much slop. It'll rain, then it'll be a bunch of slop. Now I'll have to fix the other one. I'm messing with Wally, so he's standing out there. You hear that stuff? Some of that's kind of hard. Last thing they said was 10 o'clock we were supposed to have snow here. 11 o'clock would be rain.
And thank God for good friends that are family, because they're texting me if it starts snowing towards my house.
In the meantime, it's after 11. Didn't rain or snow at 10 o'clock.
It was raining at 10.
It sprinkled a little, but not enough to even feel.
It was fucking cold.
But now...
We can see our breaths now, and we couldn't a couple minutes ago.
So, this is the water line. You know, I love that little vibrating saw that we picked up. Worked nice on this. Notched for there, notched for there. But because we got to make it around the post, I just took the tongue clear off, and that's all horse damage. And notched at that end.
Fancy damage.
Yeah, fancy damage.
She was a thoroughbred, by the way.
That was the horse that did most of the chewing in here.
She was so hot.
And that was mostly from the other side.
Mm-hmm.
That's what there's hot wire. Anyway, take some plumber's tape and some sheetrock screws and get this fastened in, and I'm going to have to make a hose for there. The one that was to that float is going to be at that end, because it's the right length for that. And then we'll be done with this, I hope. We're watching a couple of deer. That's the baby, just snuck under the wire through the brace post, and mommy's already across the bridge.
And there's another,
They came from clear back there. Made all the boys run out to say hi to them. Well, that was fun. 33 degrees and raining. Yes, still raining, no snow. There is snow up at Becky's dad's. There is snow up the hill from Ty and Maury's. Probably snow at Ty and Maury's by now. Ty was going to go ahead and go home before it did anything worse. But I said, hey, wait a minute. We got to feed the 2-year-olds. She says, let's put 2 bales into the cows too. And now I'm going to get a ride to the shop from her, because it's warmer. Well, maybe I won't. So much for that. But, well, she says I can open this one. Blakely's going to go home. Well, go to Ty's and Maury's. Tell her mommy and daddy get off work. And she's sleepy girl. Okay? Bye-bye, Blakely. Bye-bye, sweetheart. Dogs are smart. They want it in here, too. They're all, well, Rainy's with Becky, but they're in here. Found a piece of hose. It's not the stuff we usually use with these fancy fittings. But it's 5/8, so it fits. And these clamps, show you one up close here. We got these when we got the last bunch of fittings. We got this fancy crimper tool for it too. Comes with a gauge. I don't use the gauge, I just tighten the shit up. They won't fit the red hose that we usually use. I have a sample. That's what we usually use. These will not, I don't care what you do, they will not make it over it. You can't stretch it far enough to make it over it. So, anyway, and they just barely shrink up enough for this. This is pretty thin wall. Come on. Focus! Anyway, you get the gist. There's a black layer in there. That hose just happens to be, it's pretty stiff, but it happens to be just about the perfect shape. So I'm double clamping these. The old style clamps we used, we just used one. They were a flat band, well, yeah, with a nubbin like this on each side. And actually on the red hose, you don't even have to crimp them. We have had to crimp some later in life because the hose got old. But. And then these are the last ones we got, which are, they look just like the original ones we had, but these are anodized aluminum instead of brass. And it just slips in. I don't have to use my fancy crimp tool to push it in. So anyway, that's what I'm going to get done. And yeah, it's wet out. Hey, look at it. This one actually reaches both ends. That's 6 inches more hose too. Had to use the pliers to get these tight enough to keep them from leaking, but that happens once in a while. The right one right there is the one that goes to here, and I didn't have that tight. I turned it on about I got wet. But there it is. So now, freezing weather, all we got to do is unhook that in and let it drain. That's 14 feet. There's a good 6 inches of drop to that, so shit runs downhill 9:45. And if it is, you know, if they aren't drinking enough, if I don't feel like unhooking, I just reach in and open the, freeze my fingers off, but I reach in and open the float and let it drain. And that float actually had a spot of ice in the middle of it. I hope I left that over here. I used my new heater because that hose was pretty stiff and I wanted to conform it to fit. But hey, here's why we have the best ones actually over in the calf barn. There's an old set of slip joints over there. Now, that wasn't shaped like it needed to be like the other one was, but hey, we got her. Didn't we, Wally? Huh, bud? Yeah? Wish you were more friendly. Need to get in there and play with him. Yeah. We need to come in here and scratch on you and play with you. So you're not so shy. See? Shy boy. And Ty just made it home a couple minutes ago. Said it was snowing, wasn't sticking yet. But our friend Ben and his sister Sylvia, they live up the hill from her, and they had snow before Ty left here. Got some other friends up the hill farther, and they've had snow for 3 or 4 hours. And I said Becky's dad's got snow, so it's coming. In the meantime, we got very, very cold water. And if it's already ice, it ain't melting. Every now and then there's chunks in it. But, oh, I gotta tuck this thing under my coat. It says not to get it wet in the instructions. I've been messing with this thing. I think I got it figured out. We rarely use, usually a little more pointed like that. Dad used to give you a better look at them. Dad used to get to hand grinding too much, and yeah, you're supposed to cut this way, not the sidewalls out. Anyway, I read the book and I came to this part here. Ron's busy texting me. It says heel same height or higher than the cutting edge. You got two problems. One, the sharpening hole is not functioning properly, which is this. This is supposed to give a little. And the other is the chuck is dirty. So, clean the chuck out. Oh, I was supposed to turn to page 18 to see how that's supposed to be done. I just took it apart, blew everything out. But something else that I noticed while I was doing that, if you notice the little chuck fingers, they're all straight, in line. There's little slots inside that correlate with these slots on the outside. And those fingers ride in them. They're actually attached to the nut. Those, the whole time we've had this, have been on an angle instead of straight up and down. I mean, evenly on an angle, but on an angle. So the chuck wasn't holding it properly to begin with. But I started with this one. This is the one that Ty had been playing with, and this is actually at the 135 degree and not the 118. Focus! Get a magnifying glass out. Anyway, I don't like the way it looks, but it actually has a point and the heel's lower, and a point and the heel's lower. And the center, there's quite a bit of meat there. I don't like that because it's hard to get started. But I figured that out too. So, this is the first one I did. Focus. Wish it would focus on what I wanted to focus on. There. See the heel, the left side, that's a little lower. And if we look straight on, come on. It don't look too bad. It's pretty much got a point. It was a really wide point. I did all three of these. Here's the biggest one so far. Guess we'll do it down here. That don't look bad. I mean, if I hand sharpen, I take more heel off than that. But that's enough to make chips. So anyway, chuck was together wrong. And it was dirty, and there was, grindings in there, so I blew all this out. Good. Got it set at 118 degree angle, which seems to be doing what it should. But the reason I was getting too much in the middle, too much meat, is that middle still got to do something, and it can't cut if it doesn't have cutting edges. What you do is you get it set, you use it here first. Piece here, see if it'll show it. Those little deals, grab the sides, and then you get it set for your length, and that gets the bit set right. Then Ty was telling me you line these little bite marks up with the cam, and when you twist it, you twist it from here, but I don't want to touch it yet. There we go. It grinds, and it brings it back up, and you grind the other side. And there's suggestions in there as to how many times you grind a side. It's like 2 or 4. Well, to get these evened up, I was going more than that. And what it was doing was it was changing the orientation of the bit, which made it grind it off funky. Which also, I'm assuming the way the chuck was, that it was changing the orientation of the bit and making it bass backwards. So anyway, I reset in here a couple of times on these, and the final product looks pretty freaking good. I just like twice at the end, or four passes, whatever, at the end, stayed within what they said to do. So I think that's the trick to it, I think. And Ron sent me a picture a little bit ago from Pulse Point. The place we have with the red barn up on the hill said there was a house fire there, but apparently it must be a problem with the wood stove or the furnace, one or the other. I'm assuming a house full of smoke, so that's a good thing. And I was listening to it a little bit, and they said, yeah, one person in bed can't get out of bed. Well, yeah, because they're both old. They both have health issues. They have caregivers living with them. So thankfully they still have a house. You know, I keep it that way. Haven't talked to them in a little over a year, but just because I don't get up there, when we're up there, we're working, and you know, maybe they're gone to doctor's appointments or whatever if we do get a chance to stop by. Anyway, so that's my story on that. 6 minutes talking about this thing. That might be the end of the video. If it is, hey, thanks for watching. Hope you had a good Thursday and hope you have a great Friday. If it ain't the end, I'll show you something else. In the meantime, I'm going to try this bigger bit. It says it'll do the 1/2 inch. I could not find, I know there was a bunch of them 3/8 and bigger that Becky had done before that were backwards. And actually this one, this side, focus, you stupid thing. This side, the heel's off enough it'll cut. This side, the heel gets annoying. So it's going to take a few times of doing it. And that is such a fine grind on there. It looks like one that she might have done. I don't know. But I'm going to sharpen it, see what it looks like. And we'll see what tomorrow brings.